Hello, hello. Welcome everybody. I hope the stream is running. We have Jahnavi, our special guest tonight, or today, should I say? Depends when do you watch us. Welcome, Jahnavi. Jahnavi Patel is a product manager at VMware, if I understand correctly, and you're fascinated about a lot of things software. Can you tell us a little bit more about what got you to to the technology, and let's try to take it from there.
Sure. So I think it started early on. I did my engineering and then I did my MBA. So it was kind of I think it was very easy choice to pick up engineering because I was always good at math, and then I try to find logic in things and data and things like that. So I think engineering was like the next obvious choice, and then it becomes like, what sector of engineering do you want to do? Do you want to get into mechanical engineering, civil engineering, computer engineering, and all of those areas? And then I ended up choosing computer engineering. So that I think was like the stepping stone of me getting into software. Um, that was like the first step I took into it. I think till then I didn't really know that if I really would like software engineering and product management and things like that. I just took that leap of faith, and I spoke with a couple of folks saying that I'm trying to do this. Is this a good idea? And they're like, yeah, based on what we've seen you and what we've understood from you, it looks like a decent fit for you. Why don't you give it a shot? So that's my limited knowledge, and I took that shot, and then I got into all of this. And of course then VMware happened, and since then I've been with VMware, and yeah, I think over time my interests have developed, and I'm starting to learn more into all of these areas and develop it.
That's great. I mean, personally, I had a very similar experience, also very technically focused, and I was looking for different ways how to, how to materialize that, and also ended up taking a route of related with software, perhaps not purely software. And I'm curious here. So did you study, or did you practice more the computer science, or more applied in engineering, in any specific areas? Do you have any any interest of particular kind here?
Sure. So when I finished my engineering, I think I was really interested into building mobile apps. I think that was the buzz there. Like it was about 5-6 years back. So I think that was the buzz at that time. Like build mobile apps and get everything into mobile. So that's how my journey started. I was never into web development or all of that. I was super excited about SaaS platforms and mobile apps, but I chose mobile apps at that particular time. And then I didn't stay into that area for a very long time. I quickly pivoted into MBA. So I quickly got admissions and I started doing my MBA. So that phase didn't last very long, but then that experience really helped me because uh, we we uh, we put that app on the Google Play Store. It had a lot of likes, and then the company I was interning for, they made a lot of money with it and things like that. I don't think that app is anymore there on the Google Play Store, but yeah, I think the experience started from there. Then I did my MBA, and then VMware happened. So then I started as a business systems analyst, and I was working on Salesforce products for a while, and then I started working on data products for a while, and now I'm building commerce integrations and things like that. So I think I've really changed paths over time, but it's all related to the whole SaaS data, computer engineering side of the world. It still isn't really detailed into software engineering, but I think it's between management and engineering, somewhere there.
I understand. It's fascinating because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think what I heard is that basically you developed your skills within engineering, and you saw how valuable those things can be, and how those products that you're creating can bring change to the world, and you decided to make a step forward and make an MBA, and start developing businesses around it. I think that's really fascinating. And I think that's essentially what I would recommend many engineers to consider, because being an engineer myself, I know the temptation, like of hiding ourselves inside the technology when the world is out there, and that technology is built especially for that world. So continuing this journey through your history. So you made an MBA, and you started interacting with different more high level, let's say, strategical elements of the construction of the software products, of the building businesses around it. And I'm curious, how do you see the change in that business making, or perhaps there is no change, or perhaps there is an improvement when you see and when you look with your eyes of an experienced both in technical and business, when you look at the cryptocurrencies world, or especially close to us, BitClout. How do you see what is the change that is happening in the world that we're all observing right now? Because I'm sure you have some insights on that.
Sure, I'll take two parts to this. Okay, the first one, I think you asked how does it change the view of your lens when you start looking at it from a business angle as well. And that's very important, because as a developer, I would only focus on what my manifest should contain, what design patterns do I want, what microservice do I really want to call, how many seconds does it take to get the data, and all of those things that are related to an optimization problem only. I am never looking at it from the customer's angle. When I moved to a product management role or a business systems analyst role, I started looking at it from a customer's viewpoint. And probably that 2-second delay is not important for me. More important for the customer is to get the right data. So then I started looking at it from the benefits of it, and I started working on some metrics on what really makes sense to a customer. So that niche spot that I found, that I really found interesting. And such companies where AWS, VMware, all of these are really customer focused. I mean, there have been times where I've had examples where we kind of developed one entire feature just for one customer, but then that's like a huge customer for the company. But as a developer, I would never have thought of it in that angle. And that's why I think it's very important. Even if you're a only developer, or into that, you should still always ask questions to your PM and other folks in your arena. Why are we doing this? Focusing on getting your technical skills up and running and being super optimized about all of this is great, but an added benefit to sell that what you're trying to do is really important. I think that's what I learned when I joined VMware. To your second question, how do I see things changing, right? To be very honest, I was never deep into crypto. BitCloud, I joined BitCloud because I used to follow somebody on Twitter, and they joined BitCloud, and I'm like a huge fan of that person. His name is Shreyas Doshi. He writes a lot of good stuff on Twitter, and I was like, if he's there, I should at least give it a shot. So I joined in. He didn't stay active, unfortunately, and then I stayed back and I started making connections. I started learning about it. And it's very fascinating. Amount of things that can happen on this platform can happen on the crypto world, without crypto also blockchain world is tremendous. I mean, think about this, right? Even in an office, imagine all of your emails are on blockchain. You will think twice before even writing an email. The second example I was trying to give somebody is motion sensors were developed in World War II for military applications. Now we see them everywhere. Like, we see them in elevators, we see them in uh, anywhere, right? Fitness bands and whatnot. I mean, like doors, fitness bands everywhere.
When we enter the store, we're using those
Yeah.
even. Right?
Exactly. And that guy, if he would have used the same model of coin holder royalty and creator royalty, imagine the amount of money that guy would have made. I'm sure they would have tons of other patents and patent infringements and all of those are there. I don't want to get deep into it. Just give you an example, like this whole concept holds a tremendous amount of potential. And this one last thing I just, and then I close this topic, is the whole creator economy, right? Currently, creators economy boomed when Instagram happened, but they still don't make a lot of money. They get a lot of love from people who are their fans and things like that. But it's not their potential first source of income. And when things like BitCloud, imagine this whole BitCloud turning into an Instagram. It's doable. It's possible, right? I mean, you just have to change the UI. It still stays on the chain, but the UI is changed. And those guys start making money. Then that whole lift and shift of happening from there to here will be so seamless. And they start making money, right? So everybody wants to be a creator today. Everybody wants to have a very, very strong social media presence. And those are like the taking factors for us to grab at this point. Any projects happening in this space are at this point might look really, really small, but it's just going to explode. Trust me.
Oh, I do. I do 100%. And I think we touched on something very, very profound here, and I'm curious. I'm curious about your opinion, because the way sometimes I look at the, like different roles that people take in creating different tools for the community, right? And you mentioned about the importance of redefining the role of the technology making activity, right, to include more of the user activity. And I think blockchains or BitClout in this particular case help a lot to really get that feedback from the people, right? To get close to the people, because on overall the blockchains allow us to build direct relationships using technology with direct models, right? And having a complete ecosystem in that sense. Perhaps it's not yet as complete as it could be, but we are able to move that activity and redefine it in such a way that the developers, they don't need to guess even what is there that the users would want, right? I don't think we're there yet, of course, but I think we somehow the blockchain technology opened that path, and I think that's fascinating.
That's very true. And think about this, right? Most of folks who are here on the platform today are here for the connections that they've made in the past 3 months. At least I'm here because think about this, right? I'll give you an example. I don't know if you remember this or not, but we were on a natural average call and I learned about anti-patterns from you. I think I'm not going to forget about it very soon. So so think about this. Every person you meet here is an opportunity. You will never get that opportunity. One can never get that opportunity on Twitter. I would have never had a chance to do an AMA with Artz. Never got a chance to do an AMA with Jake Udell, right? These are all opportunities that you are only going to get now because you're an early adopter. And going back to your whole concept of blockchain, right? Yeah, I think it holds tremendous amount of potential. I can list down 10 projects that can be made on BitClout that are not there today. Maybe it's too early, so somebody's thinking about it, somebody's not thinking about it. But then even if you just lift and shift of what's happening on non-blockchain world and bring it to BitCloud, there'll be like tons of projects that can happen, right? So yeah.
Yeah, definitely 100% agreed. I'm curious if you could. I'm sure it's going to be interesting, not only for me but also for our audience. How do you see, and if it's possible for the big companies like VMware, for example, like to somehow interact with the BitClout ecosystem? And I'm asking because me being myself deeply engraved in the social networks, I'm very interested in seeing ways how let's say the 20th century monoliths or like these massive companies that already exist, how they can also participate in this new world. And I know that there are plenty of people on BitClout also looking for answers to those questions. Perhaps you have some comments you'd like to share.
Yeah, I think I'll first add a disclaimer that whatever my opinions are my own personal opinions. It has nothing
Of
to do
course.
what VMware has asked me to say. So with that disclaimer, I'll tell you what. One of the things that could even have in this space is everybody's trying to build a node, and very very easily somebody like VMware, AWS, GCP, or Azure could come up with a service that says, "Hey, I can get you a node ready for yourself in 10 minutes. You just have to have it deployed on one of these clouds." So then that becomes a potential benefit to them because you're on their cloud, but nobody owns that data. You own that data. It's your node. You develop the UI on top of that cloud. It's just that they're going to provide infrastructure services to you. So you don't have to worry about getting server racks at your home and getting it on premise and things like that. So this is just one application. I mean, uh, if large creators or large companies get into this, it is just gonna explode. I have not really thought about this. This is just one example I can think of right away.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's interesting. We're so early, and I think also it's important to see how the decentralization is going to happen, right? So the moment where there is no central body essentially to interact with, how that is going to create the or change the environment. You write in your profile that you have a curiosity of a 5-year-old, and I know
Yeah.
this is a great this is a great phrase, but can you tell me or can you share with me something interesting that you learned in the past week, or not with me, also with the also with our listeners?
So I'll tell you what, there are two things I can tell you about this. So I used to run a thing called ELI5, which is explained like a 5-year-old. It didn't get enough traction on the platforms. I've stopped posting about it, but I think once we get more users on it, I'll probably start again. In that, I generally ask questions like explain blockchain to a 5-year-old, explain NFT to a 5-year-old. And I think the benefit of that is that when you start explaining to somebody who has no clue about it, you yourself are also giving yourself a chance to get deeper into that subject. That is a potential benefit of somebody who can, if somebody's posting an answer or somebody's giving an answer to those set of questions, it is added benefit for them more than me. I probably know the answer to what I'm asking. Okay. So it's not really for me, but it's for somebody who should think about it. And to your other question of how is this into me, I think I generally take this approach of 5 Ws and ask a question 5 times why, right? If you're getting deep into a subject, or if you're trying to understand something, ask why 5 times. By the fifth time, you'll get deep into enough of it that and you can also judge by that time, right? If somebody's trying to explain you something, if they cannot get to the fifth why, they probably don't know about it. So so those are, and I'm trying to think of an example of what I learned in the last week. I think last week, oh, by the way, I want to give a shout out to Usman Sheikh. I spoke with him last week, and he explained to me um, the whole concept of how we get super comfortable in the position we are at. I think that was my highlight of last week, and he sent me a TED video and I watched it. And I don't want to ruin that video for everybody, but I'll post it on my post and folks can view it. But it essentially explains there are 4 rings where there's order, which everything's working fine, no problem at all. Beyond that is stagnation, where everybody is like in a very dull state. After order, there is a state where you actually have to get discomforted first to get into that stage. And then there is chaos is where there is like world war happening and things like that. And most of us are either in stagnation or are in the order state. No, very few of us try to engage with discomfort to get more successful. Very few of us, like actually he was giving my example, right? I've been with VMware for what, 5 years now, 6 years now actually. And getting into a startup world, or getting or starting up my own company at this point is like that discomfort that I'm trying to avoid. And I think that was really hit my head, that only if you are in a discomforted state you want to grow. Otherwise you will just do as is. I think that was probably the highlight of my last week. It doesn't give you the answer of 5-year-old though, but I think I did want to share this out.
I agree. I agree. Let me try with the 5-year-old version. There is value in struggle. Maybe maybe that's not a 5-year-old, but
Yeah.
but I agree. You know, like if people don't struggle when they stay in their comfort zone, it's very hard to
Yeah.
progress, to evolve, right? Because
And it's
it's
very easy to stay in the comfort zone. You most of the times you don't realize. Like if your week just passed by, you didn't know what you did or what you struggled, it means you are in the comfort zone.
yeah, basically, and you're not moving, right? And we need to evolve. We need to morph. We need to interact with other people such that that we get the new incentives to do stuff, right?
That's true.
Yeah, great stuff. I'm curious, like getting back to your profile again, because it's an interview with you, not just let's talk about technology. But I'm curious. How do you want to? How do you see your career in the future, right? Because you have a wonderful career start. How do you? What do you envision for yourself? Which directions do you want to go? Perhaps there's something
So
planned already. Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a very concrete plan, but I'll tell you what I have been having. So for me, the most beautiful part of this platform is the people that I've met. At this point, I have very small active projects going on, or I'm helping other projects as a PM expertise, and But the best part for me is the connections that I've built. I can actually take up my phone, I can call Salil at this point and say that, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. What do you think about it? Before the BitCloud platform, I had no clue Salil. And even if I knew who Salil was, he would not pick up my phone. So so I think those
You
are
don't
the
know. You don't know. He's a very nice guy.
yeah, for sure. He is amazing. I think, and also a huge shout out this. So I was just discussing to the about this to him, and it's been 6 years with VMware, so I have to actually think about what next. I think it's high time before I get into that whole comfort zone and not move out of VMware ever. So I was also talking about this, and he was like, "Why don't you create your own startup? Why don't you create your own project on BitCloud?" He's full 100% on Prosper Cloud now, and he's like, "You have amazing problem solving skills. You look at all problems from a very different angle, and it might be a nice idea for you to do this." And I'm actually thinking about it. I mean, just because it comes from Salil, I actually want to think about it very seriously. But yeah, I think I don't have a very concrete answer as of now. I'm thinking about having my own company, starting up something, or maybe moving out of VMware to a different profile, or being 100% on BitCloud. I don't know that yet. I'm still figuring out.
That's great to hear. I think you're on a perfect route to become a successful entrepreneur. That's what I would summarize this with. Very happy.
And yeah,
Very. Mhm.
no, I just wanted to say, I mean, if Salil, you're watching this, huge shout out to you. Thank you for everything. That's all.
Yes. I totally agree. Great guy. Uh, all right. So I was. So now let's try to see your specialties. Right. So perhaps what do you see as a thing that you add to the, let's say, to your team that you're currently working with, or to the projects that you're building, and in that context, what is that value that you want to excel at? Like at least for the next few years, let's say. 'Cause
Sure.
I know
So,
that changes.
yeah, I think one thing that I've done, and I actually moved away from this for a while for a couple of projects, but earlier I used to actually build data products. So I work for a product, and then I want to be responsible for, saying that this is what my prediction of my revenue of this particular product is going to be. These set of customers have the propensity to buy higher stuff, and the third part is, recommending customers to, buy upsell, cross sell, or the last part would be giving some recommendations on the UI. So those are the things that really fascinate me. And I'm not saying that no work has been done in this area, but I used to do that for a while, and then I moved to learn more about customer experience and onboarding. So now what I'm trying to do is again, this is all very work related. So I don't know how much you guys would be interested in it, but one of the things that I'm trying to now build is an integration customer onboarding experience, when irrespective of whichever company onboards you, the experience is still going to be the same as what we want to offer from VMware. So I can actually buy my products from AWS, Microsoft, Google, or VMware or any of the partners, but the experience is going to be the same across. So you can do your cost optimization and things like that with these vendors, but the experience is still very, very equivalent to what VMware folks get directly. So I'm trying to work on those aspects at this point, and the added benefit to this is that when you open these channels up to these partners, you get more sales, but you still retain your customer base. So yeah, I'm trying to work on customer experience and optimize that aspect of it. One of the things that I've realized is that if you do make a customer do anything more than 4 steps, it is like a bye-bye from the customer. You have to have your goal done in the 4 steps only. Anything more than 4 steps, the customer is just going to get frustrated. And yeah, I'm trying to research in these areas, and I'm learning a lot about the creator economy. I'm still reading a lot about the creator economy. And I think I think JamCloud actually gave me that seed to learn more about creator economy. So yeah, I'm learning.
Yeah, I think JumpCloud is a fascinating example of how you can leverage the mechanisms that BitClout introduced into this. You could even say traditional by now, like tools for communication between people, and how that enriches that tool set that people can use, right?
And Usman has tremendous plans about it. At this point, it looks like it's like similar to what Clubhouse does, plus added features on top of it, like integration with Twitter and sending tips and things like that. But he has amazing plans about it. I don't want to give out anything. I don't want to take credit for anything because he has developed it end to end as well. But yeah, I'm super excited of what's going to come in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, really? I mean, you're not spelling. You're part of that team, I mean, of course, of course, don't share the news, but we know now that there's something big coming in 2 weeks with
There
JumpCloud.
is.
So everybody,
Sure.
stay tuned. We're gonna watch it very closely. I'm very happy to hear that. Do you see any other projects, or do you follow any in particular any other interesting projects on BitCloud that you could recommend us?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite projects is Cloudcast. I have not done anything on top of that. I've just helped them initially in their initial days. But I think that is one of the best projects I've seen, because their revenue model is very, very concrete. All of the other projects are still trying to figure out how to make money out of the things that they are building, right? If you see any of the analytics platforms that are being built, or any of the apps that are being built on top of this, they don't have very clear-cut revenue model today. And one of the things that I really like about Cloudcast is they have a very defined revenue model. Even though it is just 10% or 20% of what they get, but when this platform expands, that 20% becomes huge. And their platform just needs to be scalable to cater to those set of users. So that one I really like. I think all of these analytics platforms really fascinate me. Even though we have Signal Cloud, Prosper Cloud, BitCloud History, I think what was that other one? Cloud Beta or something like that, and Cloud Vista. All of these are basically an analytics platform in my mind. But all of these 5 have a very different use case or very different audience need that they cater to. Like Salil is amazingly genius in how he has done Prosper Cloud. And the way if you look at it, I think what I really like about this guy is he tells story with the data. He can actually tell you very clear cut on why he has put this graph, how will this benefit you, and then how do you make decisions looking at that particular data. I think that is the USP of Prosper Cloud. Data is there on blockchain for everybody, but to create a story out of it, make sure that everybody understands it, that is the key feature, right? So second one for me is going to be Prosper Cloud for sure. I really like the way Salil is doing. And And the best part is his one-man army. He has no other team working for it, and that actually shocks me sometimes, because if he was in a large company, he would have an army of 12 people for sure. But he's doing this all on his own. He does blueprints with mass and whatnot. I mean, amazing. Yeah, I think I
Happy to
can
hear that.
not stop saying nice things about Salil. I don't know.
Okay, let's get back talking about you.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit more about that interest of yours, data science and machine learning. In in particular, I would say that I'm also a little bit interested in it, but let's try to make it digestible for everybody. But if you could share with people like your excitement, why do you think machine learning and data science is so important and for you, and perhaps that will also be allow others to to get interested and perhaps dive into this
Sure,
this
sure.
area. Mm-hmm.
So I tell you what, like if you look at the world which was say 20 years before this, right? There was no data science. I mean, there was statistics and all. It's not new, but then the computing power was very limited, and hence there was no data science. Uh, the decisions that were made were very top down. Like the VP of a company would say that, hey, I spoke to 5 customers today, 5 top customers, and they are requesting this. Sometimes customers know what they're requesting, sometimes they don't, and the VP will just have to make decisions based on what his idea of the product is, his vision of the product is, and plus he's heard from the customers. Now that is changing. Now you have data to really make decisions today. I mean, this is all just coming from one example, right? There are tons of other examples I can give, but just as one example, I can really say that, now to even for a project to pass for a review and things like that, there is like a 6-pager document that AWS does. In that 6-pager document, everybody has to really explain why this project is important, what will be the data, what is the data supporting this project, and then that goes for an approval and things like that. So that is just one decision making. Data has made decision making very, very concrete, very, very easy, and things like that. The other thing that I really go ahead, sorry.
No, I just wanted to quickly perhaps I cut the essence. So essentially we're replacing intuition with data-driven decisions.
Yes, because intuition, sure, if you're super smart and you've really studied, great. Otherwise it is all political, right? Because otherwise it is just somebody saying that I want to make these 5 customers happy so that I get promoted.
Yeah.
The second thing, I mean, amount of data driven apps, right? I could totally build like a recommendation system saying that based on my analysis of say Jake Udell's investments in the past, I think these are the potential creators that he would like to invest in. That's a recommendation, very, very simple recommendation system. And I mean, that's just one example. I mean, if you look at I could even have an analytics system that says that, hey, based on your previous eating habits, I think you would really like to try out this new restaurant. And these are good problems and bad problems also, because it really brings convenience to one's life. Somebody does not have to, dig through and ask people and things like that. But it also takes up a little bit of essence of life sometimes, because finding a restaurant had its own perks. Like you would talk to your friends about it and they would recommend something to you, and then you would go to a place, or you would randomly try out a new restaurant and that could give you like a new taste bud. So all of these has pros and cons. Okay, so don't get me wrong, but I think the potential the data has, I mean, everything could become a recommendation system today. Like, I'll put it very simply, everything that you do today is going to be a potential. I could even say that these are the 5 people I'm most connected with on BitCloud, and hence show me these 5 people's post all the time. I don't need a global feed now. I don't need like any other feed. I just want to get a discovery is the biggest problem on BitCloud today. You don't know. I really have to. I mean, I can get notifications cloud feed, but I still would want to go ahead and see 5 or 6 people's profile I really care about and see what they are doing. If I miss out notifications, I miss out. And discovery is like a huge problem. And discovery is what? Recommendation. And recommendation comes from data science. So yeah, I think that's one of the, I have not really thought through of these answers, but this is what I'm telling what comes top of my mind.
No, it's great. It's great. It's great, and I agree 100% with what you said. Uh, yeah, it's great that it. I think at some point when you were saying, I was thinking, yes, and we're getting superpowers essentially, or our brains are getting superpowers, right? So, and I think it's very interesting also to see how. Data science in particular is crossing this barrier that we have seen as impossible in the previous century, right? And this is perhaps something that is driving this paradigm shift that we're observing in the society, right? That we're seeing in the technologies of the internet in general, but also more in particular cryptocurrencies or BitClout by its own, right? I'm curious what the future is going to bring. I don't know if you have any cool projects that you've discovered recently. We've seen plenty of generative art on the platform, right? This is also somewhat related field. I think there is much more that the data science can offer to those artists. But I'm curious, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm not very deep into NFT world, so I have not really thought of how NFTs could really help or how data science could help NFTs. But one of the easiest things to do is, when you build an NFT, when you post an NFT, add some hashtags to it, add some text descriptions to it, or add some alt text to it, so that when somebody tries to build like a recommendation system, they can take all of those tags and it becomes easier for them. I mean, based on my previous purchases of NFTs, I can say that this is the kind of interest I have. Like, for example, if Paul wants to know who's really interested in the photographs that he has posted as NFTs, he can see that these are the set of people who have bought NFTs, and they could get Paul's recommendations from these kind of things. So I think it just makes life easier. It totally does. And I'll tell you one other example. Okay, not for NFTs, but one of the easiest things that I've realized is 10 years before, if you made a purchase, you would get a bill, you'll get a invoice from somewhere, from a physical invoice, right? And you store it in a file. And if you really want to see the warranty of it or things like that, you have to remember when you bought it, what month, what date, and things like that. And yesterday, I was just having a casual conversation with my dad, and we were like, when did we purchase the laptop's battery? And I just opened Amazon and I'm like, hey, I think we purchased it 3 years back. It's out of warranty. Let's go buy a new one. I think all of those things also are very convenient. Like, my parents are old. I'm not super old, but these are like the things that make life a lot more easier. And the things, I'll tell you two things. One is customer experience has to be improved. And the moment you add convenience to it, any product just booms. Even if it is a very simple thing, if it's not super novel, but if you're adding convenience to something that somebody does today, people like it. I think that's how it is getting a lot of traction. Like a lot of these food delivery services, right? DoorDash or Uber, or I don't know what's the most prevalent there, but it was not that food delivery was never there. Like, you used to call up a restaurant and they would send food to you home. But now they've just added like an app, added convenience on top of it. You can track it. They've taken that whole surprise element out of it. They know, what that guy is doing, when is he going to reach your home, and all of that is like super convenient for somebody. I would rather call like take up an app and order food rather than call a restaurant, because then I'd be like, okay, will this guy come in 30 minutes, 40 minutes? I have no clue. Right. So these are the things, added convenience. I don't know where I started with, but I think I just went somewhere else.
No, it's fine. I think I just wanted to add that, and sometimes we don't even know if the guy is gonna come. If we cannot track him. But I think it gets back very nicely to this example that you gave before about that how behavior is changing, driven by the technology, right? So we're not we're not enjoying the trip to search for the restaurant anymore, but we are enjoying now watching the trip of the delivery dude that is getting us the food, right? Or
Yeah.
we're enjoying and arguing when picking from the menu. I do that a lot with my wife, you know. But yeah, I think it's fascinating to see also in the context of different generations, right? So we're seeing even yesterday, I believe it was Steve that joined us at the Nacho call, that he just read an article on Medium and decided to jump into the call, talk about it, learn what is BitClout, and we started onboarding him, helping him out a little bit, and we saw how like different things, like the language is even completely different that we're speaking, right? So there's, even in terms of user experience, I think perhaps there is this very thin barrier that we're trying to define here as the makers of the new world, so to speak, how to communicate effectively and how to be inclusive and enabling for the society at large, rather than trying to focus on just having fun.
Yeah, that's true. And
Mhm.
and I think I have given this on CloudCon as well, right? If you are building something, if you need help, just reach out to me. I'm more than happy to review what you're trying to do. And there are tons of folks like me who do this today. I think Jason also from Proudcast mentioned that he's helping a lot of other projects as well, who are not part of his basically hierarchy, but because the ecosystem is pretty small today, and I mean, because we look at products day in, day out, it becomes easier for us to understand if this is convenient or not. And we want to ensure that what we build today, these guys' projects become successful. So, yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I think last but not least, for sure not. I wanted to touch on the topic of accessibility
Yep.
and not only usability, right? Because like we're building tools for people to use, right? So we need to consider the full range of I don't know, issues that can arise from using it. And I really like to give here an example of my mother, who was trying to use a tablet that I got her, and herself being fully proficient with using a computer. The tablet, the mobile interface was a new thing for her, and she couldn't install a free game because the skip button was grayed out, right? And normal person like I saw that skip button, but she, just because she was older, and her eyesight is not as good, she just couldn't see it. I think in this case, it's very interesting to see on one side all of the challenges that we should face essentially as a community to really be enabling, right? Because it's not about disabilities per se, it's about the accessibility for people, because we're talking about gradients, we're not talking about one or two specific people, right? We're talking about finding good practices such that it basically works for everybody, right? I'm
Yeah.
curious if you have opinion here. How can we improve on that? Mm-hmm.
I'm actually very passionate about this topic. So I have been, so VMware has this thing called a Persons of Disability pod. Pod is basically power of reference, which basically means that I am not employed to do that, but because I am passionate about this, we form a group of people, and we work towards it. So I'm part of that. And so I can actually go on and on for this, right? But I'll tell you two things that we're trying to do. One thing I recently we launched is a platform called Together We Can, where we invited 6 different corporates to join with us, because and this is all India specific, right? I think this can be extended, but we've not gone that far, and we've added 6 corporates to our bucket, and we said let's solve this problem together. Because in India, what the biggest problem that we're facing here is that when we go to hire in colleges or in other areas, we don't find people because their education has been literally taken away from them. Like there are very few schools, and if somebody is living in a suburban area or things like that, they don't send their kids to school and things like that. So that's the biggest problem in India that we are trying to tackle, because if we uproot that, that society, if we uproot that problem from the society, we will start getting more and more people. Once we start getting more and more people into the organization, the sensitization and the unconscious bias kind of removes itself. And I mean, I spend at least like 20% of my time working on this area, and most of the time I'm still working on awareness and sensitization and events and things like that. but but last week itself, on I think 29th of July, I interviewed a lady from Dell, and she is the VP there, and she has been in this area for very, very long. And she told me two things, right? One is that disability, each spectrum of disability is separate, first of all. The moment you start using it as your own advantage, they no longer have that disability. Like, she gave me an example of autistic folks. She hired 10 autistic people, right? And autistic, sorry, I'm actually very passionate about this. I get really restless when I start talking about it. But yeah, I think autistic folk have this thing that they really like repetitive stuff. But the bad part about it is they have no social skills, right? So if they are in an office, they are in an organization, somebody could, stand this close to me. It will make me feel really awkward. That guy has nothing in their mind. And if the thing that she explained really well was, once you hire somebody, once you find the right talent, spend time to teach them what they don't know. They will bring value to your organization in some way or the other. You just have to find what value can they bring. And those guys have improved the efficiency of test cases like by 30%, because they're so used to doing repetitive stuff, they can do things really, really fast. And this is just one example. So I think she taught me a couple of things, right? One other thing that really struck out to me was actually two things. Sorry, I'm going to take a little longer. So two things that struck out to me was when she did that hiring in her organization, the existing employees who were there, who were not disabled or who were temporarily able. I also don't like to call people able. I call everybody is temporarily able. All of us are going to get disabled when we get old. So I call of all of us is temporarily able. And one thing that she noticed was the happiness index of the existing employees got really high, because when you work with somebody who is not as able as you, when you're trying to help somebody, your soul, actually your soul gets filled with lots of love, because they have tremendous amount of love to give out. They've always faced that opportunities have been taken away from them. When you give them a chance, they also give them enough amount of love. So two were like the very potential benefits. And the third thing that she taught me was, when you try to develop a product, don't think of it as accessibility as an afterthought, right? Well, a lot of these startups and a lot of these companies, what they do is they try to build and they think that this population is very, very limited. And then they think that, okay, once we launch it, we'll go ahead and do another sprint of effort or another 6 months of effort to make it accessible. That's not true, because you're missing out on those set of people from the very beginning. And I think WHO estimates there are going to be 2 billion people who are going to be disabled by 2050. That's like a huge, huge number. And if you're missing out that, you're missing out on that market. So one example that I kind of give everybody is that Siri was developed for vision impairment, and it was for people to use phone easily. But everybody of us uses Siri today. Whoever owns an Apple phone uses Siri today. Siri, Cortana, or whatever, Google, whatever you want to call it, that voice assistant, right? It was initially that stem of that idea was to help the visually impaired. But if you take that as an example, and if you try to build products which can be used by disabled plus enabled or by temporary enabled, that whole thing becomes a business imperative. And it's no longer, like a CR activity or like a small set of activity that you're just trying to do to help some people. If you start identifying the business advantage to it, that story becomes completely sellable. And that is what we are trying to do today at VMware. We just hired somebody with cerebral palsy today, and I am yet to talk to that person, but I'm really, really excited. I'm going to speak to that person probably tomorrow. No, I think Monday. And yeah, let's see how that goes. So I think couple of things. I'm going to put on a post of all these 10 points that I learned from her as well, maybe today or tomorrow. Uh, but these were the things that really struck to me, right? It has to be a business imperative. You have to look at it from a long-term goal and not just hire and let them be, right? You have to hire, help them. They need our help. That's all they care for. and then the amount of value they bring in is tremendous. I'm going to stop now because this is like very passionate area of mine. um, and yeah, that's all.
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you very much for sharing amazing thoughts. I'm sure that plenty of people will appreciate. I know I did. So thank you very much for that. I'm sadly bounded by some time limits, so I would like to invite Alex to join us here, and he has also some questions that he wanted to ask you. I don't know if Alex, are you here with us?
Yeah, thank you, Kansha, for giving me
Yes,
a word.
Alex, go ahead, roast me up.
First of all, I would like to say, wow, so deep conversation on text, so great experience and expertise from you. Wow, that's awesome. So I would like to shift questions from technical side more to personal level. So, and the first thing that I'd like to ask is, how do you balance your life with BitClout, and how many hours do you spend on BitClout? Because for us, for example, for CloudForm, and I think for many other projects who combine their BitClout life and real life and other job, it is a question. So what's your way to manage this balance?
It is truly a question, and I have a very serious day job, I think, and I cannot let that go. So I have to really balance between the two. When I joined this like a month back, I was super into it. I would constantly keep checking about it. I used to be up till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the night because a lot of activity happens in the PST time zone. And I think that was not sustainable for me at all. So I did that for a while, and I think that time was all. I mean, BitCloud also was super hyped at that point. There was so many active creators you could talk to. There was so many things happening. Like Raj Lahoti was playing a lot of games. He was playing a lot of Clubhouse rooms, and I mean a lot of activities happening back then. So I was also super engaged, and I would only get time after what my day job ends or whatever time I have. So I used to really stretch for it. Like I know I've done this for a couple of times where I woke up at 6 a.m. and I've joined like a Clubhouse room because it was something related to BitCloud happening. And in fact, when I did Artz and Jake's AMA also, I think they were super early in the day. So I think that was a phase where my level of spend on BitCloud was like super high. And then after that, I think I consolidated stuff a little bit. And then now it's become, I think I still don't know the number of hours I spend on a daily basis, but now it's like I spend a couple of hours in the morning, which is the PST evening, and then I do my day job, and then I have a lot of team calls in the PST morning, and then I wrap it up, and then I'm again on BitCloud for a while, and then a little bit in the afternoon. But I'm not constantly on it anymore. I think I realized if you look at my own chart on Prosper Cloud also, the number of posts that I used to make or reclouds that I used to do has also considerably gone down. Two reasons to it. One is the engagement on BitCloud has gone down a little bit, and that's a little concerning. And the second thing is I also am very conscious on what I post now. I don't want to post out random stuff. I make efforts to really write down my content that I'm going to post, and then I review it a couple of times and then post it out. So because of that, I think I take time to kind of think about what I really want to post on BitCloud. So maybe the number of posts has gone down, but my energy on BitCloud has not gone down. My number of interactions with the people that I used to have has not gone down at all. I still try and go to talk to Brock and Ed and Raj and Salil and Usman, and I come to Nacho calls sometimes. I still do all of that. Maybe I post less, but my energy has not gone down. So to your question, I don't know how many hours I spend, but I think I'm trying to consolidate. And one thing I'm trying to do is not do BitCloud on weekends. So you'll find me really less on weekends now.
Yeah, thank you very much for this answer. And I think a very interesting fact is that much of our engagements is happening on Clubhouse or Nacho Average or somewhere else like WhatsApp, Telegram, so on and so forth. But the engagement on the platform, sometimes we see that it is decreasing between us. I mean, because we have another way to contact with each other. And it's
I think
interesting.
one of the problems is discovery, right? Because I post, and if I post and it does not become like a global post, or if it is not in the time of the person being active, only if somebody goes to my profile, they will watch the content that I have posted. So the discovery is a problem at this point. Uh, I mean, I constantly
Yeah,
go to some
agree.
profiles and see what they're posting, but otherwise discovery is really, really hard today.
Yeah, I see it. So relax, breathe out, and let's imagine that we are living in the fantasy world, and we have a Hollywood producer who has invited you to take part in the movie as a main female character. Who would you choose for the main male character? Would it be Brad Pitt
Ah.
or Leonardo DiCaprio, or
Oh,
maybe
okay, that
someone
is a
else?
tough choice. To be very honest, I can pick one of these two, but what fascinates is so I'm like a little bit of different person in terms of I don't glorify actors. I glorify people who are more intelligent or more smart or more techy. So I kind of have a fan fan base, or I kind of have like a fan feeling towards these kind of people. But just to answer your question, I'd probably take Leonardo DiCaprio.
Wow, cool. And what's the other person that you admire, who is not an actor?
Oh, I would like to go on a dinner with Elon Musk if I'm given a chance.
Cool.
I would sponsor my own trip to the US if he gives me that chance. So
Yeah, we'll hope he will join BitCloud, and we'll have an NFT for dinner like Dama has did.
yeah, I think
Um,
other person that I really admire is Reed Hastings, who's built Netflix. So yeah.
oh, cool. So let's continue our journey in the fantasy world, and let's imagine that you won a lottery for $10 million, and now you have total freedom for yourself. And what place would you choose to live in? Would it be UK or USA?
Oh, I just have to choose between these two. Is there like a
Yeah,
well,
you can name top 2 or top 3 if you want.
sure. So I've never been to UK. I have not been to UK, so it's very hard for me to choose or not choose something I've never been to. US I've
Mhm.
been a couple of times, so for sure. I think I'm more of a person. If I'm given $10 million, I'd probably stay three months in a different country rather than just picking one. So I have like a bucket list of things that I want to do after the COVID
So
ends, and that
yeah,
includes a lot of traveling.
yeah. So what would be the first place you would visit?
Oh, the first place I want to visit is Iceland, and I want to see the Northern Lights.
Wow, cool. So you have some specific knowledge about it or passion? Or why would you choose this?
I think I've seen it in pictures, and I want to get that experience of viewing that. So one thing that I think I didn't put it in my bio is I also do a little bit of painting, quilling, and artwork sometimes. There, I have posted some of it on BitCloud, not all. Uh, so I think Northern Lights fascinated me because I did a painting on Northern Lights, and I was like, okay, this is so beautiful, and I really need to visit it. I think that's how it's been in my head to visit Northern Lights and Iceland from there. And I mean, I'm more of an explorer. I probably don't have a list of 10 things that I would want to do in Iceland. I'd probably go with like an unplanned itinerary, a little bit of plan for sure, but more of an unplanned itinerary. Go to the suburbs, learn what kind of life do they have there, and learn what is their culture, what is their history, what do they eat, and yeah, I'm more of an explorer in that ways.
Speaking of meals and eating habits, if me and Andre would go to India, what meal would you recommend us to taste?
Oh, first of all, both of you are welcome, and if you guys come in here, your entire food trip will be sponsored by me. So do come. And I think India culturally has like if you look at the map of India, there is North India, there is South India, there is West India, and there is East India. All of these four places have completely different cuisines. And I was talking to somebody, and they said that if the moment you move 50 kilometers or 50 kilometers from one place to another in India, the cuisine changes completely. So I think from what my guess is, I think you guys would really like South Indian food, and I would take you guys to a place called Nagarjuna, which is basically a lot of Indian food, and they serve it like on a banana leaf, and I would take you there for like a completely authentic experience.
Sounds yummy. Thank
Sounds
you.
delicious. Yes, and indeed, the korma is one of my favorite, and I think korma is from south, right?
No, I'm
Oh
not
no.
sure, but yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure.
So I have two more questions to go. The first one
Sure.
is, what's the best way for you to relax? How do you find peace in your life?
I think one of the things that so art, I'm not like an artist. I don't do galleries and I don't do stuff like that. But whenever I'm bothered by something, or if I'm super happy about something, I want to humble myself down. I pick up a pen and a paper and I try to draw something. I think currently what I'm trying to do, I think for me also this changes over time. Like currently I'm doing canvas paintings a lot. A while back I was trying to do a lot of bottle paintings. So all these alcohol bottles, they're like having fancy shapes and things like that, and I decorate them into beautiful pieces that you can keep into your house. And in fact, if a bottle is a memory for you, I would decorate in terms of your memory and then gift it to you. So I was doing that a while back. I don't do that anymore. I'd probably do it again. I mean, it's nothing that I've stopped it for a reason. I'm just focusing a lot more on canvas painting now. And maybe once canvas painting is done, I'll start doing portraits or things like that. I think I keep changing within art, but then art is something that takes my mind off everything. It really relaxes me, humbles me down. And other thing that completely relaxes me is travel. You take me anywhere. I always ready to come to travel. And yeah, I think I just love being in the nature. I think that just changes your entire perspective, because uh, I have a day job. I spend 12 hours in front of a laptop. I talk to customers. I talk to my dev. I talk to my leads and things like that. But it's the same damn thing that I do on a daily basis. So nature, art, all of these are like getaways for me for now.
Yeah, got you. Thank you very much for this very open and detailed answer. Now we know how we can
Now I
relax you if
realize.
we need.
And I think I realized I spoke too much. I'm sorry if I took way
No,
too
it's
much
fine.
time.
It's totally cool. So uh, don't worry about it at all. Um, so I think I consider you as as number one creator from India who is now in India, and I think you are great, an example for Indian creators who
Thank you.
can join BitCloud, and they can watch for your example, and thus they can be more active. And this is your contribution, huge contribution that you are doing for the development of BitCloud community development in India. And
Yeah, I think I was probably one of the first Indians to get on this platform and stayed. I mean, probably there are other folks who would have come in, but they've not stayed. So yeah, I think yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
this is true
Yes,
because you yeah. I'm sorry, Andre.
I just wanted to say I concur. Thank you very much for a great conversation and all the knowledge that you shared. It was a true pleasure to
Do you
talk to
have
you.
one more minute?
Sure,
Sure.
go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. So the one thing that I would like to add to those words that you've said is you're an example because you've managed to get a great recognition from top tier creators on BitCloud, and of course you've done a lot of things for BitCloud as well, like your session, like building JumpCloud and helping other projects, and being active on Clubhouse and on other platform as well. So you totally deserve it, and this is true. In my opinion,
Thank you.
you are number one creator from India. And
Thank you so
speaking
much.
of it, I would like to ask you, to send a message to creators from India who can join and listen to your message, and maybe it will help them to attract new users.
Sure. I think I'm just going to say two things, that this platform is here to stay. There are and getting an early mover advantage. Very few people get that. Get on board to this sooner, as soon as you can. And India is still developing the crypto space as well. So the moment you get on this, I think at this point also, if you get on this platform, it is still early and you can still make a lot of impact to whatever you're doing. I think I just want to say that imagine any startup, right? Like any startup who's doing marketing today, they come on this platform, they get completely new audience to market their stuff, right? I think marketers, new people, creators are never going to make so much money on Instagram ever, unless and until they have like a 1 million following base. So all these creators, all of you guys who are trying to get deep into the creator economy, do come on this platform, because this is the time to be on this platform. I think it is the right time at the right place to make your mark. And that's all I'll leave you guys with. And thank you, Kashi. I think your questions were very deep. I know that I'm very passionate about a couple of things that I do and say, so I think I spoke a little bit too much, but I think I really appreciate your questions. And thank you, Alex, as well, and both of you guys for inviting me. I'm sorry, Mark Bentley, I couldn't do this session with you because of time constraints, but hopefully next time we meet sooner. And yeah, I think I just want to say thank you, both of you. This has been very nice to talk to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jahnavi, and it was really a great conversation, and I hope we will do more conversations with Kansha as well, because he has a great expertise in tech, and he can talk with persons like you more in technical level as well, and it's great for the audience to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm more than happy to get on any call. I'm a little camera shy, but now I realize that it's okay. Maybe I'll learn from Kashi how to get that avatar, and then I'll come on on the stage more often. But I really enjoyed the conversation today. I hope you guys enjoyed too.
Definitely. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alex, for organizing it. Thank you, Jahnavi, for amazing journey that you took us, and congratulations on all the successes that you've had so far, and I hope you're gonna keep on rocking. And thank you very much.
I just want to say sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to say, and I think just watch out for the space. There'll be so many more things coming in very soon. I mean, I just said, right, JumpCloud is going to launch something really interesting in the next 2 weeks. You might not know there will be some other projects that are cooking up in the background that will launch in the next 2 weeks or so. Just watch out. I think there's so many amazing things happening that is soon going to happen in reality.
Jahnavi and Jenny, and if you want to make some sort of presentation of your project that you are going to launch, you can come and join platform. We will help you to organize this space.
Sure, for sure.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining the conversation today. It was really joyful joining today.